You got 19 days into the midterm elections, and the latest Fox News opinion dynamics polls show that 38% believe they will vote Democrat, as compared to 44% will vote for a generic Republican.
And joining us right now is the third-ranking Republican in the House of Representatives, Congressman Mike Pence of Indiana. He's no generic Republican. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, all.
Hey, so things are looking really good for you, according to the polls. Meanwhile, the President of the United States, it sounds like, in the form of this New York Times Magazine article, is helping your Republican colleagues because he admits, that despite what we heard in the build-up to the stimulus, the President says he has discovered there's no such thing as a shovel-ready project. What?
Yeah. After being told for the last year and a half that the stimulus bill was focusing resources on shovel-ready projects that would put Americans back to work, now the president makes that concession. I was also struck by the fact that he told the New York Times that he had made a tactical error. I think his quote was, by allowing himself to be painted as a traditional tax and spend liberal. Well, you know, passing massive tax increases in Obamacare, spending at record levels of deficits and debt, that'll get you the label tax and spend liberal. Yeah. So it's pretty, you know, it's not about, it's not about tactics, it's not about positioning or messaging. You know, what the president seems to continue to miss is it really is about the policies. The American people know their economic policies have failed. They know that we can't borrow and spend or bail our way back to a growing America. And if Republicans have a good day on November the 2nd, it's going to be because the American people want to go back to limited government, fiscal responsibility, and reform. You know,
it's interesting. You know who agrees with you, according to this story? Robert Gibbs. Robert Gibbs says we keep getting blamed because the messaging and marketing isn't good. But in reality, no one ever talks about policy. And I'm thinking to myself, did he just out his entire administration? Meanwhile, I got to ask you, the president also is on record of saying in this story that he doesn't think Republicans are serious when they talk about cutting taxes and cutting spending. But John Boehner's on the record now, correct?
Yeah, well, you better believe it. I mean, look, in our Pledge to America, we laid out a plan this year where we'd be willing to cut $100 billion out of spending by taking us all the way back to 2008 levels. You know, you've seen an 84% increase in domestic discretionary spending since this administration took office. John Boehner said the other day out on the road what we all are planning on if we have the privilege of leading the Congress, and that is every single week Republicans are going to bring legislation to the floor to cut back spending, to get this runaway deficit under control. I got to tell you, we all rejoice at the images of those 33 miners coming up out of the well. But I got to tell you, out here in Indiana, and as I travel across the country, a lot of people feel like we're digging an awful deep hole ourselves for our children and our grandchildren, and they want to see a change in the culture of spending in Washington, D.C. Republicans are determined to do that if we have the privilege of leading the Congress again.
All right. Very good. It's great to always have you from Indianapolis today. Mike Pence, thank you, sir, for joining us live.